Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. Welcome everyone. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin is currently trading at 42,333, up 0.67%. Ethereum trading at 29.26, up 0.08%. My goal is to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, and also gain real wealth in the process. I've been in the financial markets for over 30 years. I've hidden knowledge gems that I've acquired throughout that time, throughout this video. Unless you watch to the end, you'll miss them. See how many you can find. I've been in financial markets for over 30 years, and I've created literally thousands of rules from my losses. And losses are the tuition fees of being in markets. Rule 774, master yourself to master the market. I share these rules with you because they will make you a lot of money by helping you avoid losses. Everybody in life has a personal trend. That's what we refer to as real wealth. Real wealth is much more than just money. Money is definitely security, but when money becomes the goal, people tend to lose their way in life. They turn to conflict. They turn to very many things that don't serve them. Real wealth is all about inner and outer peace, integrity, decency, kindness, courage and honor, authenticity, empathy and love. These things can be very, very lacking when people just go after money. That's why many people say, I don't want money, I just want to have integrity, for example. But a good person with money is still a good person. You are who you are. A good person with money does more good. A bad person with money does more bad. It's completely neutral. Money is just a form of energy. When turning to KS zone analysis, the 4 stages that all investors and traders progress through to become consistently profitable and attain real wealth. Zone 1, the fear zone. Zone 2, the conflict and blame zone. Zone 3, the patience and rule zone. And Zone 4, the meaning zone. I'd like to talk today a little bit about the difference between conflict in Zone 2 and Zone 4. Conflict is a natural part of life. It cannot be avoided, but there are different strategies to combat it. I love listening to Jim Rohn and reading his books. He's a man of great integrity. I prize integrity above all things because after living so long, people with a lack of integrity are just pains. I'll tell you what Jim said, life is brief, even at its longest. Whatever you are doing with your life, get at it. All good will be attacked. All values must be defended. In all areas of the human existence, what we put into this world, we get back from it. I'd love to tell you a really cool story about the market vendors. This is a story about conflict and Zone 2 conflict versus Zone 4 conflict. In Zone 4, there is conflict. There's always conflict. That's part of the human condition, but it can be handled differently. Okay, let's make this really interesting. Pretend you're store owner too. You've just bought into this particular business. It's a clothing business in a clothing street, a clothing market. People come from all over the city to shop at this clothing market. Now you get in there. Store owner 1 seems very nice. Store owner 3 and 4 and all the rest of them. At the start, they seem very nice people. Now you go diligently about your work as store owner 2. You create the best garments that you can possibly create. You notice that store owner 1 has very inferior garments made very cheaply. They just fall apart. But because you're in Zone 4, you have no need to say anything to anyone. People will figure it out for themselves. Store owner 1 is a little bit different. Store owner 1 comes across to your shop and sees the incredible quality, and of course, what is the first thing that store owner 1 says? oh no, how am I going to sell my clothes? Ooh, what am I going to do? I'm scared. Driven by a fear of failure, Store Owner 1 engages in competition across multiple attack vectors. Store Owner 1 thinks that you are taking business away from Store Owner 1. So therefore, Store Owner 1 comes into the street and starts to say bad things about your shop, about your clothing, and you know that's not quite correct. Store Owner 1 is a little bit sneaky, has no integrity, and starts to come across and take the scissors to your garments and punch holes in them. That's not very nice of Store Owner 1, is it? And you see this and you say, oh my goodness, my clothes have holes in them, but you have no idea how they got there because you didn't see Store Owner 1 doing it. Also, Store Owner 1 has friends that he sends out into the market street and says to passers-by customers that your clothing is bad, and says, look at these holes in this particular jacket, in these pants, and Store Owner 1 put them there. This unfortunately is the nature of competition. This is very much the hallmark of someone with very low integrity stuck in zone 2, the blame and conflict zone. Okay, so the question is, what do you do? If you're in zone 2 as well, of course you go and do something rather interesting, I would imagine. Potentially you could catch him in the act. It doesn't take long to figure out where people are coming from. But let's pretend, or let's say, you're in zone 4. Okay, if you're in zone 4, what do you do? The first thing you do is take it as a compliment. Store Owner 1 is only interested in undercutting you and competing with you because you're better than Store Owner 1. Well done. That is a compliment, and you should take it as such. It's really important to defend all values, but you do so in a very specific way. What do? Well, you, of course, when you figure out what's happening, putting up a couple of security cameras would probably be a good idea, and popping outside the shop. But the real issue is that you do not give up. You say, I don't care. What Store Owner 1 does is none of your concern. You just keep on going. Seek to double the quality of what you do and double the service. And as a hallmark, never, ever, ever give up. And you say, Ken, what are you telling me about market vendors for? I want to talk about Bitcoin. Da-da! There's always a reason I do what I do. Okay, this story of the market vendors is actually the real story of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a superior means of transporting money. It's better than gold, Store Owner 3, better than euros, Store Owner 4, better than the banks, Store Owner 1. It's better than so many things. Now, what is Store Owner 1 and 3 and 4 doing in this case? You of course know that they have multiple attack vectors. They're big, they're very heavily backed. So why not lobby the government? Why not talk about energy usage? Why not talk about regulation? You can imagine. What about smear campaigns, false narratives, sowing a lack of confidence? My goodness, it sounds like every other day in crypto, doesn't it? I'm not necessarily saying that Store Owner 1 was the bank. I just put the banks there and the dollars there. But the case is, Bitcoin is just doing its thing. It's doubling its quality. It's going hard out there, and it doesn't care. It takes us as a supreme compliment. The whole financial system is paying so much attention to Bitcoin. That is a massive compliment. That is confirmation you're in the best market. The next time you hear someone launching an attack on anything or anyone, and especially Bitcoin, think about multiple attack vectors. Think about the integrity or lack of integrity being shown. This kind of stuff happens all the time in the workplace. It's really good to just separate yourself from it and think about basically Shop Owner 1 and your Shop Owner 2. Shop Owner 2. Oh, so hard to say. Let's turn to the VIX. The VIX is really important. You can see that the stock market influences the crypto market. Now, why does it do this? Basically, because stocks are so much larger. You can see bonds and stocks. These are global figures from the end of 2020. Just to give you a perspective on balancing, you can see that the crypto market is really tiny compared to stocks and bonds. What we're seeing here is the VIX is actually spiking. What we would have expected if confidence was restored to the markets would have been the VIX underneath this bottom, this low on the previous VIX. The VIX tends to be very spiky. I used to trade it. I know the VIX quite well. The VIX tends to collapse, go shoot up and collapse. It can go very spiky. It's a spiky thing, like a porcupine. So basically, when it doesn't come down, when it does this sort of behavior, that actually points to a bit of an issue inside the markets. The reason that we look at stocks and bonds and crypto gets hit first, stocks hit second, and if there is a risk off situation, if people are feeling, oh, they're not very happy with the market, they want to decrease their risk, they transfer money from stocks into bonds, basically from crypto to bonds, crypto to stocks to bonds. It's really important to understand the interplay between the markets. That's a little gem for you. Before the last financial crisis, what we had was the VIX getting extended above a resistance line, coming up and down, coming down for a while, and then spiking violently up and causing, well, not causing, but basically footprinting the crash. When we look at the capitalization of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I've put how to do that just up here for you, when we look at that capitalization, we can see we're hitting resistance and we're being currently rejected. And we know that the VIX is a problem in the main markets. We also know that there's synchronization between the tech-heavy Nasdaq and Bitcoin itself. How do we know that? This is the actual Nasdaq fingerprint. It's following pretty well. We would expect prices to come down if the VIX spikes. What I've done there is I've just inverted the VIX to give you an idea of price behavior, like we generally do when we compare the markets. Just a little bit of news. On the 30th of September, the second largest Ethereum mining operation will close. That's Spark Pool. That's because of the new Chinese legislation. I was saying before, I don't believe this FUD is FUD about China. I know a lot of people do, but coming from a legal and senior executive background, I just don't see it. There's a lot of signal. People think it's noise because it's happened many times. They've just been tightening loopholes. Also, another thing came through today. On October 15th, the fourth largest Ethereum mining pool will close. This is closing not just in China, but throughout the world. We just want to keep in mind this particular resistance line. It's a line of minor structural repair. When price gets above it, or combined market capitalizations of Bitcoin and Ethereum, the reason that we combine them is this is the majority of the crypto market. It gives us a much better indication as to what is going on. We can see we've got negative air. We've got a top that failed to meet this resistance. That's weakness. We've got another confirmed negative air here. We don't know if this negative air will be confirmed or will just sell off. We need to wait and see. But we know that there's a lot happening at the moment. Around the 15th of October is the potential start of the X date. That's when the US government will run out of money and shut down. Potentially, that's the start date, and it could extend up to the 3rd of November 21. I'd like to thank Martin, a very valued community member who reached out to me privately and said, basically shared an article that I'll show you in a tick About the debt ceiling, Janet Yellen is predicting the 18th of October for the US government to run out of money. That's a lot closer to this side than that side. So we're looking at 17 days potentially till the US government shutdown, if that occurs. And a lot of people say, it won't occur, you don't need to worry. But in 2013, it actually did. The government shut down. It didn't default, but it shut down. Janet Yellen is saying that the government may actually default in this case. This is a very, very bad thing for international markets, of course. And we've also got the tip of the iceberg, which is Evergrande. It may be defaulting on the 24th of October on its US denominated debt. It's also got a different number of debt repayments coming in through here. Really, Evergrande is not so much the issue, it's what Evergrande represents. It may be the pin that pops the real estate bubble in China that could cause systemic pops all around the world. We just need to keep our eye on these things. I'd like you to think back to March 2020 when we had the crash in the equity markets and also Bitcoin. The crypto markets, crypto fell significantly. Over that time, if you were lucky enough to buy near the bottom of the capitulation event, you would be up so much money now. That's the 10-5-10 rule. That's what we're looking for. We don't care about market selling off. We care about just having a little bit of funds to buy the dip and the real dip. This is the article from the Wall Street Journal that Martin recommended. Thank you, Martin. This is a really, really important thing. It really makes sense why the VIX is spiking right now. This is to be anticipated. That's why a couple of days ago I marked out those particular dates for you. That's all part of our early warning system. It's also important to understand how the shutdowns in mining pools could affect Ethereum. A little bit of a hint, it's not good from so many different levels, but potentially the biggest one is confidence. When we look at Ethereum, Ethereum is currently under resistance. It's testing this downwards resistance line and this upwards resistance line at the current price around 29.35, with the particular news that mining pools, the second and the fourth largest, are closing down. This is the kind of thing that I was trying to warn people about. It's really hard to hear these warnings. Nobody wants them to be true, but we need to prepare for the worst and the best case scenarios. If not, we get caught unaware, and that can be very financially painful. Thank you to Richard, who recommended this article for the community. If you have any articles you would like to recommend that catch your eye, that you would like to share with the community, of course that's very beautiful of you to do that. Please just reach out and directly message me on Twitter. I'll make sure I leave the Twitter link in the description. So we can see B-Pool, the fourth largest Ethereum mining pool, will shut down because of the new crypto legislation. It's really important to understand this legislation is really damaging to crypto. It's all about bolstering the digital yuan, and of course there's got a lot of other side benefits to the Chinese CCP as well. We have a look here, stop operating October the 15th. This is just coming after, literally days after, the Spark Pool announcement, which we covered previously. That's the second largest Ethereum pool. It's very important to understand that these issues by the CCP, the legislation, applies not just to China, but any company based in China. It can have subsidiaries anywhere around the world. If the holding company, the parent company, legally, is impacted to close down, it will affect the subsidiaries. It's really important to understand that because the holding company owns the subsidiaries. That's just how corporations law works. Richard also contributed this. Richard is on fire recently. Good on you, Richard. 2miners.com. Why not 2 miners? Cool. Now, this is the Ethereum hash rate. You can see it's starting to drop down. No wonder. Just very quickly, and again, thank you, Richard. This is fxstreet.com. This is Ethereum price could be compromised as these mining pools, Spark and Beeple, are closing down. Hey, guess what? It gets better. E-commerce platforms like Alibaba have been stopped from selling mining equipment. Wow, it just gets better and better, doesn't it? I saw these ripples were going to play out. A lot of people were dismissing the China issue as FUD. It's not FUD. Just returning quickly to Ethereum. Ethereum has support at 2796, 2609, but you can tell there may be a lot of weakness in the price. Putting your buy orders lower, if you're seeking to dollar cost average in, would be a much better idea. For example, 2387, you could even go as low as 1909, and it really depends what you think about how you're doing things. Are you trading? Are you holding and investing, hodling? It really makes a difference, because if we get some very big crashes in the market and we see capitulation, that's the kind of thing that we want to buy. That actually throws out very, very specific signals. Let's have a look at Bitcoin's technical analysis. We can see the current price, 42,245, just here. We've got a level of resistance. We're seeking to get above that, but we know the markets are in a bit of turmoil at the moment. Now, what does it all mean? In all probability, we're going to get a spike in fear. It's good to account for the best and worst case scenarios. So if everything turns around, we've got some fantastic news. The debt ceiling has been raised. Everything is good. We'll see a degree of repair occur, and then we can follow that forward. Don't worry about the ups and downs in the market. Price is always going up and down. Now for the 10-5-10 fund, remember that's all about something that's 10 that drops to 5. That's a 50% reduction. But when it comes back up from 5 to 10, it just increased 100%. You want to try and get around those 5 numbers. Now, if we look at Bitcoin support, the first one is around 40,741, but we would want to go much lower. The next one is around 35,484. And of course you could do, depending on what you want to do and how you want to scale in, you could put your buy orders anywhere. We've got a level of support at 34,267. Now, a lot of people have been talking about if a specific line gets crossed, it's all over. Not true. What actually will happen if this is a black swan event? What we'll see is repair occur. Black swans are anomalous. They basically sharply go down and tend to repair over time, and then things get back to normal. It's really about the repair and the rate of repair. That is what it's all about. If it's a minor problem, it could dip down below some of those resistance lines, some of those support lines that are being drawn, and it will be fine. If not, if it's a more systemic sell-off, and we'll be able to tell that by the price action, at least have a very good idea. If it's something like that, well, then that's different and we need to pay more attention. But we're in the bull market cycle. It's in all likelihood going to continue. It's really important to look at the Nasdaq at the moment. We can see this very long down play in price, very similar to this down play in price and this one. These ones are very quick, sharp angles reverse. We know that as one of our rules. Slow is slow, slow is slow. This is pretty slow. We could anticipate, these are the futures markets, So the US market has not opened yet. We can see the 10-year yield starting to come down a little bit, the market tending to go up. But it really all depends on what happens when the markets open. It's potential we get a rally. We could go up to this resistance line and then resume down. We could do a lot of things. It's really uncertain, but we have a lot of support below. It's not that we're expecting the whole thing to collapse. I know a lot of people think that, but I'm not really convinced that that will happen. I think we'll find support at these levels. The financial markets are remarkably resilient. We witness crashes when the bond futures, the bond prices tend to rally up, go straight up the wall. When that happens, we've got major problems. When they come down, it's not so bad. For crypto, for the stock market, it can be a little different. It's all part of the 4-year cycle. Of course, we do have to be careful of the correlation between the stock market and Bitcoin. This is the dynamic of financial markets. They're very, very complex. I just wanted to point out one thing. With the US dollar currency index, the DXY, what we've seen going back to the crash between the 13th of Feb and the 13th of May, we saw the dollar spike up, and when the crash started to occur, we saw it plummet down. We can see Bitcoin following the dollar. This is quite important. And literally the dollar and Bitcoin followed each other, and the dollar rallied strongly near the bottom of the particular sell-off for crypto. What we can see here is the DXY has actually cleared resistance. It's being supported. Now, why do I say that? We take this particular resistance line. It's not too effective, so we go from this line. We can see the DXY price behavior is to the right of it. Now, if we draw a line across these resistance areas, we can see the DXY is being supported. This is really quite important. It's in a channel now. We would anticipate the DXY, because it's crossed, it's made a double bottom effectively over a long period of time, it would continue upwards. This is just normal technical analysis. It's a really good thing to note that the DXY is like a flight to safety. It's like where you put your money when the crypto market would go bananas. And where is that? In a stable coin. That actually brings me to another issue. A lot of people have been talking about putting money in BUSD, which is Binance coin. I personally wouldn't do that at the moment. I think that there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets, and it's really hard to track down Binance's corporate structure. It's a little bit misty, whereas USDC Circle is very clear cut and is seeking to list on the US exchanges. It's a much safer bet, and it is definitely in the US, so it cannot be shut down by China's legislation. It's important to also understand China's legislation impacts Chinese nationals, Chinese citizens all around the world from doing anything with crypto. That could have some fairly far-reaching impacts. Ultimately, there'll be a bit of a shakeout in the market and others will take the place, but it's such a shame. I just want to let you know about another thing. This is the Federal Reserve reverse repo market operations. Take particular note of the COVID crash, the crash in March, the US liquidity crisis and COVID, and you saw a big spike up there. That was to inject liquidity into the system. What is this? This is a potential storm brewing. If it breaks, when it breaks, is unknown, but it's showing there's a potential systemic problem in the markets. Just keep aware of these things. I personally use Binance for trading. What I typically do is transfer into Binance, buy whatever it is, and transfer out of Binance at this particular time. Binance is a little bit murky, as I've said before. I think any centralized, for example BUSD and some of the other centralized tokens, maybe it's not such a good idea to be in those just at the moment. Bitcoin is completely decentralized. It has a lot of protection under legislation already. It is not a security. Basically, it's passed the Howey test in terms of registration of securities. That is very, very good. But some others not so much. There's a lot of securities in the crypto market. There could be some other attack vectors coming out. Anyway, let's have a look at the top 33. This still is the best market to be in. It just means we have to take advantage of the volatility. When we look at the top 33, up in front, AVAX, up 20.54% over the past 14 days, followed by Atom, up around 6%, Axie Infinity, up around 5.6%, then Luna, down about 5%, Uni, down about 9%, XMR, down around 13%, and Bitcoin, down around a little over 13%. We can see that as the market comes down, of course the alts do too. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. Rule 109, enhance pattern recognition. Having a look quickly through the top 8, we can see Bitcoin is currently under this key resistance level. Ethereum is under resistance. Note the particular patterns of all these charts. What's happening? What's poking out to you as being interesting? What I see is Binance Coin seeking to get above this resistance. Also XRP. This is pretty cool stuff. The rest of them are looking fairly weak. DOGE is coming up as well. Let me know in the comments what looks interesting to you on this page. Let's have a look at the next 8. Now, what are we doing here? Let's look and see if you can draw a trend line with your naked eye. Oh, how naughty, your naked eye. What do you see in AVAX? What are the points that you could draw together in that top left diagram? Is the trend up or is it down? Compare that to Luna. What's happening with Luna over the same period of time? What about Uni? What's Uni doing? Is it an uptrend or a downtrend? What about SHIB? Is it an uptrend or a downtrend? These are the kind of things you want to look at first. Is it up or is it down? What about Algorand? Is it up or is it down? What about MATIC? Up or down? Can you see any similarities? Does MATIC, for example, look like Uni a little bit? Maybe. You can have a look at Phantom. What is Phantom doing? Is the trend up or is the trend down? The key is to always trade and move with the trend. It's always the best way to go. What's Cosmos doing? Atom, what's this doing? Is it going up or down? That's always the first thing that you should look for. Okay, just from the charts at hand, see if you can draw a trend line in to capture the underlying trend. This is going to be a bit of a different trend line. I'll just give you an idea. I'll just work on Uni to give you some concept. This is kind of the average of the price behavior, isn't it? It's just basically going down there. You could draw it a little bit differently, but the concept is that's the directional bias of Uni. Now, we don't draw support and resistance lines like that, but hey, you're an artist, and I definitely am. I love doing all sorts of naughty things that I shouldn't. After 35 years in the market, well, maybe I'm just too old to worry about what other people think. Now, do the same kind of thing. What you're really interested in is where is the price clustering? Just really not giving it too much thought at all. This is how I drew the line. I see AVAX going up. I see Luna going up. I see Uni going down. I see SHIB basically going down, but it's very spiky. Ooh, SHIB so spiky, porcupine. ALGO, I see it going up. You can see a lot of variability around that line too. MATIC coming down, Phantom going up, Cosmos going up. This can be a really good way to train your eye. What is the basic chart doing and how clustered around the line are things? When you see something very clustered around a line, you get a lot more confidence than if it's shocking itself up and down. That's very, very volatile. But very volatile can be really good as well, so long as you know how to place your orders for both entries and exits. I'll just let you in on a little secret. For a lot of technical analysts, I've just done the unspeakable thing. I've drawn lines not according to rigorous rules. But I can tell you what, after 30 plus years, I don't care about the rules. What I care about is what works. Really, the most important thing to understand, you are an artist. You can draw whatever line you like. A lot of people like to criticize a lot of things. People seem to be very hung up on doing whatever they think is the right thing. The truth is, when it comes to TA, technical analysis, you're an artist. You can do whatever you want, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Going back to our key chart, we can see that that resistance was rejected for both the combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's what we pretty much expected anyway. There's a lot of volatility inside the market. The other thing that you might like to think about, there is a great wall of debt in the world system. And that great wall of debt is very hard for any country to service. It's growing out of control too. Going back to the last bull run, it's important to understand the volatility inherent in crypto. Crypto can go up and down 20, 30, 40%, swings either way. What we had in the last halving cycle in the last bull run was a 40% decrease, then followed by a 60% increase, 18% down, 87% up, 20% down, of course I'm rounding out, 38% up, 40% down, 38% up, 14% down, 66% up. You get the idea. The price swings in crypto are utterly crazy, but if you have a 10-5-10 fund, if you've got the money put aside, you can really rocket your financial position. I'd just like to thank the very generous community members who've reached out and bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. I'd like to extend my thanks to DHE, Mike, Alex, Brendan, Mark, Dan, Dylan, Thomas, Sarah, and Dave. What beautiful people you are. It's really much appreciated. I will be releasing soon a special video for those who have bought me a coffee, and it will have some secret tips and tricks in it, as well as a linkage to the past videos I've done for the coffee club. It's just my way of saying thank you for your generosity. I'd just like to say hi to Crypto Learner as well. Thank you everyone in the coffee club for your very beautiful messages. I appreciate all of them. I thought one particularly from Mark was pretty cool. There's so many that are cool. I think I might read one out each episode. Mark said, I came across your channel a few weeks ago and I've learned to do much about investing strategy and patience that I never knew before. I was a long-term Bitcoin holder from 2016, accumulated 38. On your mark, that's fantastic. Oh, and in the COVID panic, I sold 20 of them. Oh, that's okay. You still got some left. At 6,000 to 7,000. It's amazing how volatile crypto is, isn't it? Don't feel bad about it, Mark. It's just the nature of volatility. Had I known then what you've taught me, I would have been buying then. Wow, can you imagine actually accumulating more at the $6,000 to $7,000 range? That'd be just superb. But thanks to you, I can manage my remaining Bitcoin better. Thank you so much, Mark. That's a really, really cool statement and a very nice thing to share with everyone. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know where you're viewing from and if you have any questions. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, take care, and see you next time. Bye for now.